Hey guys, it's Nosh here. So today I wanted to show you around a basement suite that we have as a rental property. This is what we typically design and build our basement suites to, the level of quality, and I'm going to explain a little bit about it as we go. So with that being said, let's get started. So over here we have the kitchen area. This is not completely flush and level. Small little minor touches need to be done before the tenant moves in tomorrow. I like to give tenants as many options as possible with controlling their light. But now what I want to draw your attention to is just the lighting that comes off under the upper cabinets, as well as the LED lighting under the base cabinets, is actually bright enough to illuminate most of this living area without actually having to turn on many other lights. The benefit of doing that is, for one, obviously it has an elegant appeal, but for two, its consumption on electricity is significantly lowered compared to using a halogen bulb. No light in this entire basement or any of my basements are halogen. They're all LED. Save the environment, save the pocket. This fridge over here, this was actually in the main floor upstairs. And when we develop basement suites, I always like to put the water feature for the kitchen fridge. It's a nice touch. It is a little bit more pricier. Here in Canada, if you're going to use a fridge that has the water feature, you're looking on average $2,000 for the fridge starting. So from a rental perspective, a lot of people will shy away from it. But you're going to see with more and more luxury items, the cost ends up being covered by the rent for a portion of time, and then every month after that it's pure profit. So this fridge came from upstairs. What it meant is that the $2,000 I was going to spend on a fridge for the basement suite, I could now put towards a nicer fridge upstairs. Now it has a stainless steel built-in microwave range hood, and one of the neat perks about it is that when you come back to the rental property after the tenant vacates, you have a microwave to warm up your coffee. But realistically, it adds the element of luxury to this space. Obviously, nice big huge fridge, tons of space inside. It's all cleaned out for the tenants to enjoy as soon as they move in. Dishwasher, full size, stainless steel. All of the appliances we got a deal because they're all Samsung, so it worked out well. Now, as we move on, now this is the master bedroom. Now, I always believe that if there is something special about every room within the rental unit, your likelihood of renting it out is through the roof. We have not yet seen, knock on wood, vacancy within this basement suite for any month in the last 3 years since we developed it. This bulkhead did take me a fair bit of time. It was a pain in the butt, specifically the contours that I had to get. Maybe I'll do a video in the future about how to do it if I'm doing another basement suite. But otherwise, the camera will come in here. It'll show you a nice big closet. The walk-in closet has a light in it, and that's just adds a little bit more modernness and elegance to the rental unit. Now, if we carry on, over here, we gave the basement suite a full-size washer dryer within their rental unit. And it's actually nicely spaced between both bedrooms for easy use. This just leads upstairs. On the wall here, we gave the tenants a Nest thermostat. You can program it from your phone, as most of you are probably aware. It's another nice feature. A Nest thermostat, I can't remember the exact cost. Don't quote me on this, maybe $300-400. Realistically, it's not going to break the wallet. But when a tenant walks in here and says, hey, I can program this from my office when I come home in the middle of winter, not only are you saving energy, which is saving utility costs, which is also saving the environment, but all these things you'll see add up to make this basement suite something that a tenant can come in and say, I want this one compared to another one. So we're going to come into the washroom. Now this was actually a pain in the butt. All this had to be jackhammered. It really sucked. I won't sugarcoat it. Now I'll tell you one thing. If you have a friend that comes over and helps you shovel concrete and jackhammer, don't lose that friend. He's worth his weight in gold. He or she, of course. In my case, my good friend Henry. But it allowed my partner Lena and I to design the bathroom exactly how she saw it. I mean, she's my designer on all rental properties, and she does an amazing job, and it really helps make the space look that much better. I keep joking, but it's not a joke, that if it was up to me, every bathroom would be blue and every hallway would be white, and you know. Now a lot of people will feel like a shower head like this is just not worth it in a rental unit. Well, you know, they might say to themselves, why would I put something like that in a rental unit? They don't need something like that. Just give them the very basic stuff. Now I get that, but when you're talking about increasing rent, when you're talking about charging a premium, something like this costs $600. However, if all these things combined were to allow me to charge $100 or $200 extra per month on rent, $100 extra on rent is $1,200 at the end of the year. So if all these items cost an extra $2,000, they're paid off by the premium in rent. And therefore, for the remaining 23 years or however long I hold on to this property for, that extra $100 is pure profit. So my question is, why wouldn't you do something like that? It would absolutely make sense. Sure, there's a bigger cost up front, and I understand not a lot of people are willing to pay that. But that's where properties like this, I feel, excel. Because a tenant walks in this and says, wow, they're giving me so much more, I'm willing to pay for it. Now, inside this shower fixture, all the plumbing is internal. So if you're building your shower from scratch, you're going to pay a plumber to do the rough-in plumbing. You're going to pay for the actual shower faucet and fixtures itself, and then possibly pay the plumber for the final finishes. Why not put all that money into the actual fixture itself that the tenant is going to see? The tenant's not going to see the plumbing behind the wall, even though it's necessary. In this particular case, the plumbing is very basic. You're talking about 2 hoses that would be the equivalent of hooking up a garden hose. Everything else is all internal. In a way, it also means that if there was ever a plumbing issue, you might be looking at changing the whole fixture. But again, $600, if it lasts 5, 6, 7 years, you get your money's worth. Now, we're going to move on into this room here. So as you come inside here, you're going to see that there's plenty of storage. Now, you're going to see spray foam going up the stairs. Realistically, that's because nobody likes the creaking of steps going down. If you have the opportunity to do it, hit it with a little bit of spray foam. It seals the wood, and as a result, you don't have any of that squeakiness when someone's coming down. So I'm going to jump out of the way. Okay, so here we have the utility room, and I'll take you in there. So this is pretty much the utility room. We have a furnace here that services upstairs, a furnace here that services the basement. So this is obviously a legal basement suite because here in Edmonton, Alberta, you need to have a second form of heating for the basement. In other words, the basement tenant must be able to control their own heat. And that's essentially the deciding factor, other than, of course, egress windows and et cetera, that determines whether a basement is considered legal. You obviously need to have the right permits. These green stickers that you'll see everywhere that says that a city inspector came by, gave it the thumbs up, you have the permits, you're good to go. If you don't see the sticker, always question whether there's permits in place. Here we have the plumbing system for the whole house. It's divided between the upstairs as well as the basement. Now, before we head over to the next bedroom, I just wanted to bring your attention to this piece of drywall. Now, this drywall is an acoustic version of drywall. It's called Silent FX, but there's other brands and names out there. Now, what it is it's another version of soundproofing. So you can use insulation to dampen sound within the floor joists between a particular suite or from one room to another. But this is that on steroids. Okay, so I like to use it on all the ceilings throughout the whole basement because it just keeps the noise to the basement suite and the noise upstairs completely separate as much as possible. I actually use it in conjunction with insulation to just add another layer of soundproofing qualities to the rental units. That way you don't get many noise complaints. Now, in this particular case, there's a bedroom on the other side of the wall. There's a furnace right here. So to me, it made sense to put this kind of drywall over here. And that way, when the furnace is running and kicking on, or the AC in the summer, you're not disturbing the tenants on the side that are trying to sleep. So we're going to carry on into the next bedroom. Now here we have the bedroom. Obviously we have crown molding and LED lighting wrapped around this section of the bedroom anyways. I came in here and I said there's going to be that feature as the special feature for this room. The cost, I don't know what it would have come up to, but let's say $1,000. That's $1,000 spread over the lifetime that I own this rental property. So in this case, 30 years. So you have to decide whether you want to do something like that, you want to spend the money like that. Now, usually the second bedrooms are not as good as the master bedrooms. And if you have a roommate situation or you have, younger kids, if you could give the tenants the feel that the second bedroom is of similar quality to the master bedroom, I think it's going to do wonders for you in terms of potential rent and potential premiums on that rent. Okay, so before we leave the second bedroom, I just wanted to show you one thing. I'm somewhat proud of this. It was the first time giving it a shot, so be easy on the criticism, if any, but check this out. I'm gonna close the door. And we have fiber optic lighting. The camera might need a second to adjust, but it was meant to give the Starry Night effect. So if you have an infant or a toddler in this room, something to catch their attention. If not, just a really nice feature. Maybe you have a vanity or something in this space. Okay, well, there you have it. This is the basement suite. Now, before we wrap up this video, I wanted to share something with you, which is when we bought the house and I came down into the basement, I said to myself, you know what this place needs? It's got high ceilings, good potential, wide open space. It needs a man cave. That's definitely what this basement needs. Now, I pictured a hot tub in that corner there, or a sunken in pool, and working with the city. I pictured a sauna in the corner over there, perhaps a wet bar there, pool table where I'm standing, a home theater behind the camera right now, which is the second bedroom, and this was gonna be the man cave. I looked at all that and I said to myself, it would cost roughly $60,000 to build all that. Or I could do a rental basement suite and have a mortgage helper of the sorts to offset the mortgage cost. I don't need it, but it would obviously be nice to have. So I looked at it from a business perspective and I said, you know what, if I spend $60,000 instead of a man cave, and I built a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom basement suite, then what would I be looking at in terms of the math? And what I did was I whipped out my calculator and I said we would rent it for roughly $1,400 a month. So $1,400 multiplied by 12 months brings us to $16,800 a year. And the other half of me was fighting and was saying, yeah, but Nosh, you could work overtime or get another part-time job and make $16,800 that year and basically have your cake and eat it too. But here's where a lot of people go astray. I did the next step, which is taking that $16,800 per year and multiplying it by how long I plan on holding on to this property for, which is 30 years. And so when you do the math, $16,800 for 30 years, it comes up to $504,000. So just a smidge over $500,000. So in other words, building my man cave in this scenario would have costed me just over $500,000 in the lifetime of owning this property. That was a harder pill to swallow. Okay, so obviously we went with the basement suite. There was delayed gratification that I had to endure, which is something we'll get into a different video about, but it's essentially putting off what we want now for something with greater returns in the future. Now, when it comes to this basement, we've rented it out for the last 3 years. We've rented it at $1,400 a month. So realistically, out of our $60,000 renovation cost, we've already received about $50,000 and change back. This puts us in a really good position. In the next 12 months, we will have recovered our full $60,000 in renovations, and every month moving forward is just pure profit. Now, supposing we held on to this property for a total of 30 years, that means 26 and a half years would be spent just generating pure profit from this basement suite alone. So it's not about just making money. Obviously, in the next 12 months, we'll be making money, but it's about what you do with the money. If your goal is to make that money and improve your quality of life, that's fine, but it's not really doing as much as it could be for you. Instead, if you take that $16,800 in our case and reinvest it into either the stock market or real estate, your money is now generating more money. Your profits are making you profits. And that's something called the velocity of money. And that's where you really start to see numbers grow, because now you're dealing with compounding interest and compounding rates, and it's just phenomenal what that can do for you. Now, remember the man cave scenario? We wouldn't have just lost that $445,000 over the course of 26 and a half years of pure profit, but how much money could that $445,000 get us? I mean, the numbers are astronomical. So you really have to weigh out the pros and cons when you're assessing a business opportunity like this. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you liked it and I hope you learned something. If you did, hit the like and subscribe button down below. It helps me to grow my channel and continue putting out great content for you guys. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you.